So in this lecture, we are going to talk about some quantitative trading strategies. So the first thing is you should go back to the lecture where I have discussed the examples of applications of Markov inequality and Chebyshev inequality. We are essentially using the same examples there, and instead of customers, you should think of stock price. So I'm just going to recall some things here. So consider random variable. So say stock price. Now stock price is always greater or equal to 0, and therefore you can apply a Markov inequality. And say you're given a strike price of greater than 0. So the probability that the stock price will be greater or equal to a strike price, this is less than equal to expected value of the stock price divided by the strike price. So strike price, you decide what strike price you want to. For expected value of this random variable stock price, you know its expected value is x bar. So this we have computed in the previous lecture. So instead of expected value of x, you use x bar. So that is, you take a sample and you take its average. Now for Chebyshev inequality, again you have expected value of x, which is x bar, and variance of x is sigma square, which is approximately s square. So then you have probability that the stock price minus the mean will be greater or equal to some strike price. Instead of strike price, you can say some spread, whatever you want to. So this is less than equal to sigma square over strike price square, or you can say spread square. So you can use these two results in large number of applications. For example, for options, you could use this for forming bear or bull spreads using put options or call options. You could also make butterfly spreads, straddles, strangles, condors. Whatever price points you want to make, you can make those price points by just putting in strike price here or putting in spreads here and then computing the relevant probability. So that way you have a handle on the probability that your product will be successful. So suppose the probability of success is 90%. It is not guaranteed that that you will win, but if you place say 1,000 bets, then you hope that in 900 of those bets it will be favorable towards you. So this gives these two inequalities, which are very simple. So notice that I'm not using any fancy techniques of Monte Carlo simulation or stochastic calculus. Just these two inequalities gives you a great handle on just how to bet on options. So how to have bear and bull spreads, how to have how to determine the strike price. So you want to make a knowledgeable judgment on the strike price, because you can relate the strike price to probability. So then you can see, all those people in the market who are not relating the strike price to the probability, you can bet against them. So more on this you can learn in my lecture series on using options. So options and this thing is very much linked. Now I come to a very important part of this entire course, and that is the qualitative judgment you have to make. So what prices you should pick up for computing x bar and s square. So we have seen that x bar and s square you can just compute from some formulas which I have given in previous lecture, and but the idea is what prices you should pick to compute x bar and s square. So the answer here depends upon your judgment of the market. Now the risks department will assume that the distribution is same for the last 20 years and could take stock price of all of the last 20 years to compute this x bar. So this is x bar and s square. On the other hand, hedge fund might think that the distribution of stock price of a corporation is fundamentally different in the last 6 months or last month or last week or just yesterday or last hour than its entire previous existence. Now this could be because a corporation might have taken over some other entity, or there is a new product launch. So think iPod was launched by Apple. So once the iPod is launched for Apple, you can say the probability probability distribution of the stock price of Apple before iPod is completely different than the probability distribution of the stock price of Apple after iPod was launched. So you can say a new product launch or taking over a company fundamentally changes the probability distribution of the company. Similarly, you can make same argument for Google with Google Glass, or you can make the same argument for mining companies, you can make the same argument for interest rate cuts, and so on. So thus the hedge fund might take data which is relevant for its case. So it might just take data which is just last 1 month rather than last 20 years, because last 20 years of data might be irrelevant for the case. And my personal view is that it is better to take short-term view. Since computation, so this computation of x bar, here x bar and s square, so let me mark this in red, x bar and s square, this computation inherently assumes that the probability distribution of the stock price over that period is constant. So you assume, for the risk department assumes in the last 20 years the probability distribution of the stock price has not changed. And in my opinion, it is naive to assume that the stock price of the company follows the same probability distribution in all of the last 20 years. So therefore, in my view, it is very important to separate the company's performance of stock price in different periods and assume these different periods actually had different probability distribution rather than the same probability distribution. And this formula applies only if the probability distribution is same. So this x bar, computation of x bar, fundamentally assumes that you are drawing the random variable from the same probability distribution. And this point I have said multiple times and I want to say it again. So the beauty of all the mathematics involved is that we do not actually need to know what the probability distribution of the stock is. We have no idea of what the probability distribution of the stock is. You just know that there is a probability distribution or there has been a change in probability distribution. So we need only the assumption that this probability distribution did not change over the period we are computing mean and variance. So this is very important, the last part. So basically, you do not need to worry about what the distribution of the stock price is at all. What you need to worry about is how will you compute this x bar and this s square, what input you will take. So if you're a quantitative trader and you want to compute x bar and s square and feed into certain formulas like this so as to make bets against people, so you can say, if you're going to make a bet 5 days from now, you just use a mirror strategy of 5 days in the past. So you do not take the data of all 20 years, you just take data of last 5 years. So say you want to bet on Apple stock price in the next 5 days. What you do is you basically take the data of last 5 days. And if you want to bet a month ahead, you take data of last 1 month. Or not, again, this is just my personal opinion. I think this is the way it should be done, because there is no way of actually knowing if the probability distribution of the stock price has changed or not changed. But if you're in a risk department, then you have neither any motivation nor any incentive to worry about this mirror strategy. So you just take the data, you draw the data from Bloomberg and you just compute variance and mean over the entire lifetime of the stock without worrying about whether the probability distribution has changed or not changed.